Do, 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 do. Ooh, that was all fast. I like that one. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Trust No One But Us. Here we are at My Struggle Part 2.
The end.
The end.
This is the
Wrapping it up.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, episode 6. Man, it's been a good season.
Yeah.
I will go out on a limb and say I think they did kind of the impossible.
Oh,
a little bit.
Okay, interesting.
There was so many expectations from fans. There were so many
true.
things people wanted to see. So many things that they opened up early
Yeah.
in the season, and I think they did a really good job
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
So far.
For this season, yes. Yes, I think they did a good... I mean, yeah, and doing a show that used to be, you know, epic movies and 22 to 25 episode seasons in 6 episodes is a hard feat, and I think they did a really good job.
And they fit in everything from mythology to Monster of the Week to a comedic episode, you know, introduced new characters, brought back old ones. That's a lot. That's ambitious. Yeah. And they pulled it off. So happy fans.
This review after show is going to be a little bit longer. We're actually going to talk about the episode. Then we're going to talk about the season as a whole. And then we're going to talk about what we think is coming up next.
Yeah.
So hang in there, everybody watching. So just to get started with this episode, you know, just it started kind of the way that the first My Struggle did.
Yep, it did, with the monologue and the pictures and
Opening
the history.
monologue.
Yep. But this time it was Scully doing the pictures, and I think it was interesting because it was like a little bit more like Mulder when he gave his monologue at the very beginning. There was a lot of general history, a lot of, you know, like we're going to talk about Roswell and we're going to talk about this conspiracy and we're going to talk about, you know, how the government is doing this and blah, blah, blah. And with Scully, it was all personal. It was all history from the show because she has so much personal history that has to do with this conspiracy of men and possibly aliens. Right. And I liked that. I mean, to me, you know, it's always more interesting to see their personal stories than the general world stories.
It was much longer than the first My Struggle. It was a lot longer than the Mulder.
I don't know if it was actually.
No?
I got the feeling that it was, but I don't know if it actually was.
Now that we just rewatched My Struggle Part 1 before we saw Part 2, and the part with the pictures, I think, is longer with Scully's. But then Mulder goes on and they show like news footage and like old newspaper photos and stuff like that, which is what I mean. Like, like Mulder's is more about a general, you know,
grander scale.
Yeah, grander scale, I guess, and Scully's is way more personal. But that's why I liked it. And it was interesting to see Scully do a monologue like that because she usually does her typical Scully monologues, which are very poetic and like journal entries and like they're so beautifully worded. And I mean, I just used to memorize them all and like write them down on all my notebooks, and I loved them so much. And I mean, you know, as much as I would love to have one of those, this is what worked for this episode.
Do you still have those journals? Do you still have those notebooks?
They're like my old school notebooks, so maybe somewhere like in storage. Yeah, nice. It's very possible. It's very possible.
Challenge you to memorize this Scully monologue.
All right, I will.
Okay. I will test her soon.
I'll have it by next week. No problem.
And I don't know if you could tell, that was Rachel's cat Fenway that was chiming in there, was asking for you to do the same.
Okay, yes,
he's
that's
on
what he
my
wants.
side.
Yeah,
we're gonna hold you to
He's gonna help me. Yeah.
But I, as kind of a new fan of the show, it really helped me ground the reality of the show. And thanks, Fenway. He is like talking up a storm.
I know he wants to go out.
But he, not Fenway, but I feel like it really helped me understand what was coming with the rest of the episode, not having that really deep rooted knowledge that you guys have in the old season. I feel like that was a lot for me. That was a lot for those kind of fair weather fans.
Yeah, it was very, very like broad overview of some like really important stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Scully saving, you know, the world in this episode, you have to address her history with being abducted and, you know, having alien DNA in her. And so she kind of had to get into her whole thing with cancer. And, you know, there's a whole backstory that's very important to catch up new fans on. Yes. So I understood why they kind of got into all of that. I think he wants to be on the show.
Do we want to cut and I can open the door and he'll shut up?
No, he's fine.
Okay.
He's fine. Everybody's just going to help interpret what he's saying in the comments below.
We'll post pictures of him. He's really cute.
You know, but we got started pretty quick, you know, with like the whole Mulder and Scully were pretty much separate for the entire episode.
Pretty much separate.
They were, well, I've been complaining about that the whole season. They've been too separate, but this episode they were really, really, really separate. And like I understood why. I still hated it because I always want them to be together. But I guess it made sense as to why they did have very separate struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the same way almost every episode this season, counting down the clock, wondering when they were going to be together in a scene. But I felt it very much so in this episode, but I understood it the most to set up this conspiracy, this huge overarching like world-ending situation. I like the plot points they chose to have, everything that happened, and so I don't see any way they could have really undertaken those with them together.
Yeah, I think
get
saving the world would have been harder with Scully and Mulder together.
Yeah.
I think Scully would have had to do a lot more explaining. She wouldn't have been able to just kind of
Mulder would have challenged
through.
her.
You're
Yeah,
right.
Scully needed Einstein for this, which
Yeah.
I liked. She needed her science buddy. They needed to help each other get there, and I liked that they were inspiring each other with their scientific ideas, and like somebody had nucleotides, you RNA. Like it was, I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah,
it was a fun duo.
There was a lot of geek talk that just kind of was just kind of moved along in like 3 or 4 lines of dialogue, and it was like, okay, we're somewhere else. Like right now, they just
though.
blasted
Smart, powerful
past.
women.
Yeah.
Yes, go
we
X-Files.
liked Einstein back in this episode as much as we feared, as much as I personally feared that it might be very awkward to bring back 2 new characters in such a huge episode. I thought it would be forced, but it worked.
Yeah.
I was totally fine
It worked
with
with
it.
Einstein. I know that we talked about how
that's
we
right.
felt like Miller.
Yeah.
It should have been Skinner. Like in the old show, it would have been Skinner that was going off to save Mulder when Scully was
Everyone
busy
loves
saving the
Skinner.
world. Yeah,
Bring him
I
back
I know. I
more.
felt like maybe it should have been Skinner, but I guess if you bring back one of those agents, you got to bring back the other one. And it's not like I dislike Miller, but I just felt like it didn't. I don't know. Yeah,
I'd always rather see Skinner than a new person.
Yeah, exactly. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It still worked. Yeah.
No, I mean, I was vocally skeptical of those characters. I thought
yeah.
Einstein was a stupid name for an agent. But I liked that we saw her believe. We saw her let herself go, okay, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
Like she almost was like, it wasn't that she necessarily was bought in. She was just like, something is terrible happened and my thoughts aren't working. So what do we need to do, Scully? How do I help? And she just supported. I really loved that.
Right, yeah. She's getting more of an open mind already. She's
Yeah.
getting to where it took Scully 8 seasons to get to.
2 episodes. Yes.
Yes.
And when
Good
you
job.
put those 2 open minds
Evolution.
together, look what they can do. They can create a
world.
cure for a
2
worldwide
hours.
contagion
Yeah.
and produce it to save the world.
Yes, but
And-
not in time to save
yeah.
Mulder for some reason.
Well, yeah. He needs, what did he need?
He needed stem cells.
Stem
Stem cells, right.
Stem cells,
What a-
which she can tell by looking at
Right.
him.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What a specific
And
diagnosis.
she doesn't even try the IV. She's driven it all the way out there, and she doesn't even try it. I was like, Scully, just put it in his arm while you're going to talk to Miller. At least give it a shot.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny, but that's okay.
She was distracted by the
Yeah.
spaceship flying
Yeah.
overhead.
Well, eventually, yes.
Geez, I mean, we can talk about the spaceship forever, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of new old faces with this episode.
Old characters
took
that
a
they
while to
brought
say.
back.
I know what you mean.
We had seen Cigarette Smoking Man in the first episode
Right.
and the most recent episode in Mulder's Shrooms vision.
Right.
But this was kind of his pivotal comeback because we got to learn, how he survived. And we got, more of a backstory on him since we've last saw him in the old series. But Reyes came back, which was particularly interesting, and especially interesting to see that their storylines tied together.
Yeah.
Which was quite a surprise.
Which we both noticed as soon as Reyes was on the phone.
Yeah, it was
We both
obvious
knew why she was.
in the episode,
was.
or as soon as as soon as she came back, but before that, I never would have guessed that.
Oh no, I
Yeah,
wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
But something clicked when she
Yeah.
got on the phone with Scully.
Exactly.
And
I was
said, I have something to tell you.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Maybe that was her hand.
And I liked Reyes's return. I like her character. I love Annabeth Gish. She's fantastic. I could not help but laugh at the phone conversation between the two of them.
She was real vague.
Cryptic.
It was very cryptic. This is somebody who used to help you, who wants to help you again. I'm like, just say Monica.
It was like a crank
Just say
call that you
Monica.
would make when you were in high
Right.
school.
Yeah.
Or someone has a gun to
Is
her
your
head. and
refrigerator
it's
ready?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can't say who you really are.
It was so, it's kind of, who is this? But no, really, who is this?
And they had
kinda
their
funny.
very awkward French kiss.
Yeah, I know. They like touched cheeks. They didn't really like Scully didn't kiss her on the cheek. They just kind of like touched their cheeks together. They didn't hug. It was interesting. It was raining, which was so nice to see.
Finally Vancouver showed
in the old X-Files.
Ambiance.
Yeah, exactly. We got some Vancouver weather.
That was kind of a weird scene, though, I feel like, because a lot of what she was talking about and referencing to was in flashback.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of what felt like standalone scenes, but they just kind of showed us really quickly.
Yes.
I almost felt like they shot it to like be longer. Like those were going to be more parts of the show. I mean, that's my own speculation,
It's
but like
possible.
maybe cutting for time.
They had to cram a lot in that episode, so it's possible.
Yeah, we didn't love that she totally sold out to save her life, just, to be evil
I hope there's
CSM's
more there.
Right, that's the only
sidekick.
explanation we got so far is like, oh, well, he offered me like a place at this elite table of people who are going to survive, but like that's
Doesn't
not
sound like her
Reyes.
character.
I don't think she would have done that, so I feel like there's got to be more, and I hope that they're just trusting that they're going to get to tell us that whole story eventually.
Or we're supposed to assume from her saying you may not understand my reasons that
right,
like we're
that
supposed
there's
to
something
just
we
be
don't
okay
know.
with that.
Yeah, but I want the reasons, damn it.
Yeah, well, she was built up to be a morally upstanding, team player, not
Right.
a self-centered person.
And now she's kind of like begrudgingly, like almost like a slave to CSM because like we see her like giving him his cigarette, which is like
the
such
worst
a
job
disgusting
ever.
visual, and she's like
she's not on board with what he's
right.
doing.
She's like
still
arguing
calling
with
out.
him, and,
Right.
but still doing it.
Right.
So it's like begrudgingly she's doing things because he gave her something.
He owns her now.
And is it just because he
that.
saved her life?
Can't be. I don't believe it. I think it's
Maybe
gotta
something
be
else
more.
was a threat. Maybe Doggett was
Yeah.
held hostage or
Oh
something.
God, Doggett, when are you coming back? And then we also were talking about how we feel like there's got to be more to Cigarette Smoking Man's recovery too than just like, oh, they replaced his skin and he was burned really badly. Like,
No
Right.
way.
I mean, they shot a missile at him to the point where we saw it burn through to his skeleton. Like that dude was dead, or like, I mean, come on. So you had I liked your theory about this.
I thought, it just kind of crossed my mind that he must have, didn't cross my mind, but he must have alien DNA because he's going to survive the apocalypse.
Right.
So we obviously don't know all of the repercussions or the benefits of alien DNA. So perhaps one of them is amazing healing and regenerative powers,
Right.
Yeah.
mean,
Maybe that's why
Scully's
Scully will
gonna
never
live forever.
die. Whoa, kind of jinx.
Yeah. Great.
So that
minds.
explains it. If you just think about it, I think that explains it. But I don't know if the creators were intending that to be the explanation.
Right. But no, I like that. I like that idea because we didn't really get much of an explanation for how he survived that. Like we got a little bit of, what happened after he survived that, but I still didn't, understand how he could survive that extreme of a death like scenario.
I'm kind of regretting that we didn't have a drinking game for this episode for alien DNA. They said alien DNA. I think I counted 732 times.
They said it a lot.
Just kidding.
Yes, that would have been a great drinking game for this episode anyway. For maybe the first episode too. Pair the My Struggles together and drink every time they say alien DNA.
Yeah,
I think
you
maybe
get 2 hours.
Maybe that'll be a future episode.
Oh my gosh, we would be on the floor.
We try that out. Well, we could do sips.
Yeah,
could be fun.
Jeez. But what did you think about the term alien DNA? They seem to use it a lot.
We actually talked about this during the episode because a friend of ours was like, how do they know it's alien DNA?
Right.
And we're like, you know what? I don't think they're referring to it as like alien like E.T. They're saying it's alien as in non-human, like foreign to the human body. Like it's not supposed to be there. It's separate from the human genome, but it's inside of a human.
Yeah.
Like they're referring to an alien like that. And then I think later in the episode, Scully kind of referred to that and explained that a little
Yeah,
better.
because when Sveta says in the first episode, I have alien DNA for sure.
Yeah,
you can't prove that you
sure.
have alien spaceman like
Yeah.
DNA because you don't have a
Right.
alien to compare it to.
Right,
I think
exactly.
they've meant it always from the standpoint of not organically human.
It's interesting too that Scully says, I feel like they kind of imply in the first My Struggle that everybody maybe has alien DNA or a lot of people do. And then all of a sudden it seems like in this one, not a lot of people do because almost everyone's dying and
They got
nobody's
something
safe.
else,
and
smallpox.
Yeah, so
instead.
I know we talked about this a little bit during the episode. I wonder if it's a kind of thing like in season 5 with Gibson Praise, they talked about how he had his alien DNA was like human DNA that was junk DNA in all other humans, but in him it was turned on. So I wonder if it's kind of the same thing, like it's present in everybody, but it's only turned on in certain people, like Scully. Like I don't know, they've brought that up before, so I wonder if there's any kind of parallel there, but.
So you think they gave him in the smallpox? They gave him the
I don't have an actual theory. I just wonder if there's like a parallel. I'm not going to go sciencey because I'll just sound dumb.
Well, that is something to talk about, the smallpox vaccination delivery method. I felt like that was like, and you guys had said that
they covered it in
they had done it before.
seasons.
Yeah, they've
right?
talked about that many seasons ago. Yeah,
I like that they tied that in.
And, yeah, there's always been something fishy about the smallpox vaccination, and that used to be how they cataloged people. I think for got their medical files for abductions and for like government tests and everything.
Right.
So yeah, the smallpox vaccine has always kind of been tied into the show, and I like that they're sticking with it.
Well, it is very topical. I mean, here in California, there has been a big debate about vaccinating children, but back in the day when smallpox was a real threat, like you couldn't do anything unless you had that proof that said you'd had the smallpox vaccination. So in a lot of ways, it was mandatory in a lot of ways.
True.
So like, it was a good mechanism for being fishy, I think. And I think a lot of people, even back in the day with the actual vaccination, there was like, what is in it? Was there mercury? Was there other stuff? Like, everybody knows it leaves that kind of scar.
Yeah.
Right.
And in a way, for a lot of younger people, I mean, your parents would have had this done. And I liked that Scully addressed that this was something that even in the cell walls of sperm and eggs and your cells, like this is passed on through the human genome. This is not something that can just get gone. The Spartan
you can't take it out
vaccination.
now.
Yeah. I mean, they really X-Files always does a great job at taking this crazy sounding stuff and making it seem plausible. To use an X-Files term, they love saying plausible. I like saying it too. So X-Files has always been really good at that, and this episode was a good example of that, I think, a lot. Yes.
I think Sveta's really dead.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
I thought they were going to bring her back.
We don't see her coming out of that car explosion.
I know.
Not.
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe we'd see her again, but nope. And Mulder's informant. I wanted more of him. The guy from Roswell. Like, he was really interesting in the first episode.
Yeah.
I wish we'd gotten more of him in this one. I was a little disappointed about that, but
Well, we keep saying things like "I hope" and "when there is more," but because there was this giant cliffhanger.
oh my god.
Oh, but the whole thing was so epic.
It was, yeah.
The whole show felt like a movie.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
movies don't really end with cliffhangers.
No,
though.
but
lot of
X-Files
ways, yeah.
episodes do. X-Files episodes love ending with
They sure
cliffhangers.
do.
Can I please just quote, Agent Mulder died late last night from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. That
End of
was the last
season.
line of a season once. Yeah, they love their cliffhangers. So
Torture.
I like, part of me is like, okay, X-Files, like, you do the cliffhangers really well, like you do you. But then part of me is like, you had no idea when you shot this if there was going to be more. How dare you do that to us? Like,
I know,
that
I
was
was-
dangerous. And like, now that it's aired and the ratings have been
Yeah.
good, I truly
We
believe
know.
that there will
Yeah.
be more. But when they shot this, they did not know. So
So
maybe
unless
they knew
there's a
something we
secret
didn't.
hidden
Yeah.
scene
Yeah,
that you
that was-
filmed in case.
That was bold. You
So
almost
scary.
left us with a whole other world is ending scenario, and we might never resolve it. So
Yeah.
please
10
resolve it this time.
8 to 10 years later, we
Yeah.
have a 6-episode miniseries
Yeah.
for season 11.
But they did address, because in the series finale of the show, the world was coming to an end in 2012 by an alien invasion, and then we pick up the show, in 2016, and they didn't really address that. The
it.
world's still
Right.
here, huh? So they did address it in this episode, which I appreciated, because I didn't want to just slip that under the rug. Like,
Yeah.
that was important.
Right.
So they did address it. That's kind of when
And
things
subtle,
started.
too.
And Cigarette Smoking Man said he kind of took on his own timeline with this, and like, yeah, I mean, it was subtle, but it was there. Like, they addressed, like, okay, we did say the world was going to end in 2012. Let's explain maybe
We
why
didn't
we're still
forget.
all here. Yeah, that was nice of them to
Well,
do.
what do you think about this cliffhanger spaceship?
Who's
Do you-
it?
Yeah, oh my god, I have no idea what to think about that.
Well, Tad said it could be a fake alien invasion.
Right.
I mean, everything Tad O'Malley's been saying has kind of come
Right.
true. Communication
Right,
lines
yeah.
are down.
Yeah.
People are getting sick,
The virus, yeah.
And then he said there'll be like a mock invasion of the United States that will appear to be by aliens. So it could be an alien replica vehicle.
right,
Or maybe it's a spaceship coming to save Mulder and
we
Scully.
joked that maybe William is
William
driving
is piloting the
spaceship.
spaceship.
Spaceship, because they just said William.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because they got to go find William at some point. I mean,
Right.
now there's no avoiding it. I mean, now she said this is going to save Mulder. So,
Yeah.
all right, William, we're ready for you.
It's William and Daggoo piloting the spaceship.
Right. But I did love that moment of her looking up on a bridge at a spaceship. It was so reminiscent of the Red and the Black Patient X when that happened.
It's like a shot for shot remake.
Oh
of
my
that
god,
moment.
yeah, it was so reminiscent of that, and that is a great moment and a great scene and a great shot, and I good job.
Well, and we've been seeing it since the promos, since the first promo came out, we saw the last
shot.
scene.
I can't believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can't believe they did that. But I mean, I never would have known.
Not too revealing.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
just
the spaceship could pop up really
I've known
anytime
the ending
in
this whole time. Yeah.
And thank goodness Scully wasn't an alien, because I had a 7-day period where I thought she was going to turn into an alien because of the Super Bowl thing.
She already is an alien. It's inside of her DNA.
True. But as we said this earlier, how Scully saved the world, or is it going to save the world, which is what Mulder, what she told in Triangle when Mulder said, "You saved the world," and she said, "Yeah, you're right, I did." And now coming full circle, she is actually saving the world. That's pretty awesome.
My mic, but I'm trying to clap. Yay, Scully.
Well, hopefully we'll see more of Scully saving the world, because it
hasn't been saved yet. You got some work to do, girl.
We still got some stuff to do. So I mean, I think that's where we've got to kind of move on. I mean, overall, this entire season was they had a big kind of task at hand to accomplish, to please everybody, new fans, old fans, skeptics, ones that were naysayers. How did you guys think they did? How do you think this season overall?
I'm totally happy. I know that as a fan of the X-Files, or probably any fandom, there's always going to be things you want to see. Obviously, we were limited with only 6 episodes, so there's a lot of things I wish we had seen. I wish we'd had more Mulder and Scully together. I wish we did, had that car ride I was talking about last week. A lot more like investigative, like we're a team. Going after a ghost. Like, I wish we had a lot of stuff. So I guess in that sense, I'm like, oh, I wish we had those, but I don't want to call that disappointment, because I'm really glad with what we got.
Yeah, we might not have gotten some of the great stuff that we got.
Exactly.
And I never would have said like, oh, I hope we get a scene with Mulder on magic mushrooms. Like I never would have even thought of that. But like, my God, that was fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm very impressed. I think the production values were great. I think they just this last episode itself literally felt like a movie. It felt so epic and grand, and the shot from above, looking down at all the cars on the bridge, it just felt
like the first movie.
I felt like the first movie, and that's just this episode. But every single week, when I come to do this show with you guys, like I've never had a night where I felt like, oh, I guess I'll just force it and like say it was okay. Like there's been wonderful things in every episode, and so you had 6 episodes, and in different ways every week, gave us some amazing, unforgettable moments. The fact that you brought a show back after this many years and made it relevant and still feel like itself in and of the same time, I couldn't be happier.
Yep.
Very good.
Bring us more, please.
Please bring us more. Oh my God.
Rachel, how about you? What was your feelings from the end of this season?
I definitely I still don't even feel like it really happened. I think I've had a really hard time coping with it. I know, right? It's like it's so hard for me. I feel like I have to give it some time and then go back and rewatch the whole thing, because I feel like it was so strange to me to see how much the show and the characters have grown and changed. And it's not a bad thing. It just was like jarring, and like I have to like accept that and then watch it in that light. And like I'm excited to do that though, because there are episodes from the past that like I didn't used to like that I love now, because I've grown up and I see them in a new light. And like I feel like that's what I need to do a little bit with the show. And I liked it a lot. Like there were moments that I absolutely could die over. Like I loved them so much. But yeah, as a whole, like I feel like I need more perspective on it to give like a really good answer to this. I'm still not sure. Like it was a ride. It was definitely a ride, but I am happy with it. Like I think that they did a really good job, and I think that they gave us some really special storylines, episodes, characters, everything that I would have hoped, that they would have given us.
Well, Rachel, do you have a favorite episode from this season?
I don't, honestly. No, I can't pick a favorite episode from the old show, and I can't pick a favorite episode from this, because there's so many different things that I loved. Like my favorite case that they investigated was from season 2 with the creepy children, because I love the creepy children. But like my favorite Mulder and Scully scenes were probably from with her mom in the coma, and then maybe the last scene from the last episode where they're walking in his yard. Yeah, they were just different elements, and I loved, of course, the message in Were Monster. But yeah, there were certain things that I loved from each episode that I just, I have to take them
And
all with me.
Dagu.
Yeah. Oh my God, always
We love
Dagu.
Dagu. Elise, how about you? Do you have a favorite episode?
Kind of just instinctively. I definitely don't have one from the original run. I had like a group of 20 or so
Yeah.
that were all in my tops. But my instinct from this run is Weremonster. Maybe that's predictable, but I just liked everything about it. Like there was nothing I would have changed. And it was a breath of fresh air and, a very heavy season full of a lot of emotional, deep things going on. And it just reminded me of the old fun, comedic episodes that I loved so much in the original run. And we got to see great, social commentary. And Mulder and Scully, just their moments individually and with each other were fun. So I'm going to go with that.
Well, you can keep the social commentary going on our Facebook group. You can find that over at facebook.com/groups/trust no one but us. We did a group because we want to be able to engage you guys in more of a interconnected way. We didn't want to just do a fan page. You can also hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. But before we end, what do you think's next? We got 6 episodes. We have a cliffhanger. There's some stuff to resolve. Do we have more miniseries? Do we have a full-on season coming at us?
No way there's a full-on season.
The actors have said that they're too tired. They can't do a full season anymore. It's a lot of work. It takes like 8 full days to shoot an X-Files episode. But I mean, I think that there's definitely I think Chris Carter and maybe the actors are hoping for a movie, but I personally, I'd stick to the miniseries. I'd stick to the, I'd rather get more like 8 to 10 episodes, 12 if we're really lucky. But yeah, I think that's where it lives best because I think that there's just too many stories to tell to narrow it down to one that you'd have to pick for a movie. It was hard enough to narrow it down to 6, I think. And so, keep it that way so I want to get those separate stories. I like the different elements of that. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, me too. I think also just with the risks of a movie, I think it's financially more risky. So I just think it would be a safer choice. It's already shown itself to be wildly successful as a return to television series. So and also even if it's only 6, I want more, but I'd still rather have 6 episodes than one movie because it's more time and like you said, the more options to explore different concepts and get all those moments that we've been craving.
Thank you so much for watching all of our episodes. If you want to see the other episodes that we've reviewed, check down in the link in the description or at the end of this video. There'll be links to all those videos. I want to give it up to Rachel and Elice. Thank you so much for being
Thank you.
a part of
Thanks
this.
for hosting us.
Thank you for hosting, yeah.
No, it's been a pleasure. And hopefully there's more. I want to keep this going. We're definitely going to continue to make content off of some of the old episodes, some more list shows. You can check out those on our channel over at Undertow TV. Until then, we'll see you on the Facebook group, Instagram, and Twitter.
And hopefully in season 11.
Hopefully season 11.
Countdown starts now.
All right, guys. We'll see you on another episode of Trust No One But Us.
Bye.
Bye.
Mulder's tripped balls like twice before in Field Trip and Bad Blood. He's been drugged or tripping. He's actually been on mushrooms before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Both have.
They both have, technically. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can get in this a little bit later, but I liked Mulder on drugs.
Yeah,
I liked him a lot.